so perfect. But what I wanted to do is make the edges a little bit more interesting, and I'm going to do that with a Distress ink. I'm going to go get that. This is my all-time favorite Distress ink. This is a Walnut Stain. It's the first one I got, and it's the best one, and I have to go get a new one soon because this is running dry. But first, I'm gonna bring in some scrap paper. Like so, okay. And this is actually a technique that I've been wanting to show you. So, well, this is the perfect opportunity. So this is the perfect opportunity. I just take off the lid and I'm running my ink pad right along the edges and letting it go in just a bit. Okay, can you already see the difference in the edges? Is much more dark over here. And because I'm applying the ink directly from my ink pad, the paper or the color goes on very, very strongly. Okay. I have to stop saying okay all the time. So, I'm going to take a watercolor brush and I'm going to get it started by squishing a couple of other colors that I've been using. Okay. Great. What I'm going to do is take my pencil to the edge of the paper, because Distress ink activates by water. And now you can pull it in a little bit more than you already have. Like this. And right now it's just wet, so that's why it looks so actually awesome. But that will pass. But I'm just taking the watercolor pencil, or brush, watercolor brush, and wetting it a little bit and just pulling in a tiny bit. And I'm going to do the other side too. You can do this with your regular brush. You don't have to have one of these watercolor ones. I just found it's so much easier and everything, because the water is already there, so you don't have to think about, dipping all the time. But if you use a regular pencil, just dip it into the water, dab off a bit, and you're good to go, and do the same thing. And when it starts to dry up, dip again and apply it again. Okay. So this over here is starting to dry. It's still a bit wet. But that's not it. I'm gonna take my brush directly to the ink pad. Now this is pretty dry, but normally I would suggest you do it on the side down here so you don't mess up the pad, but it's pretty dry, so I just take it directly from the pad and start painting it on myself in places where I think I need a little bit more distressing inwards. I just add that with my pencil. So I'm done with this, and I hope you can see the difference, or actually you can, because you can compare it to the end here that I haven't done anything to, only the edges. Can you see how big a difference this is? It's not as pretty and neat and crisp in its color. I'm gonna do the same thing with the blue here, but a little bit differently. In the matter of, I'm going to start with the broken china and go all the way across the edge and make it darker blue all over, and then I'm going to go in with the walnut stain. So first I'm applying this. Directly to the paper from the pad. And this is a striped paper, or with a stripe embossing or kind of texture to it, so it will naturally go up on in those stripes. What I'm doing here is because, as I said, this is a striped, a textured paper, and it is it's empty. It is inked with the Distress ink. I can, and which I said is activated with the with water. And then of course the water here. The water is also activating the paper's color. So, but I have to go fill this. I'll be right back. So I'm done with that, and you can see the difference. Compare this one to this one. So what I also did was take my pencil, my brush, and just run it across the paper. Because as I said, the Distress ink is activated with water, and as you remember, or if you remember, this is also colored with the Distress ink. So of course when I apply water with my brush, it will activate it. So I'm just going over it randomly and creating a little bit of a thing to it, a little bit of texture. Then I'm going to go back with the Distress ink in walnut stain and do the same thing all the way to the edge, which, as you can see, or maybe you can see it, this works a little bit differently than with the red one, because I just finished with my brush here, so the paper is already wet. So what happens when I brush on the ink is that the paper absorbs the color completely differently than with the red one, which was dry. So that's another tip how you can etch your paper, or ink the edge of your paper, is with first going over it with a brush or just a wet paper towel on the edge, and then apply the Distress ink, which is gonna react to it, of course. I'm just very, very lightly going over it, nothing major, because, well, most part of my job is already done. Just giving it a little bit extra. So that's it for that. I'm removing this, and I'm gonna go dry the edge of the paper.